This is the refreshed BMW iX, and this is a relative newcomer to the European market, the XPeng G9. And this comparison is not as outlandish as it sounds, so let's get on with it. You can find reviews of both of these cars on my channel, links in the video description. If you're here for the first time, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified about new reviews and comparisons. Channel members get to watch new videos weeks and sometimes even months before everyone else and without ads, so please consider becoming a channel member. In this video, we will compare the exterior design, boot space, rear seat situation, cockpits, ride and handling, as well as tech. Let's go! We've all heard the BMW iX beaver fascia jokes. Hell, I've made some. At the time of this recording, we already know the BMW Neue Klasse models will show less beaver and more modern retro heritage, and this is where I'll stop talking about beavers because I don't want this video to be demonetized for the wrong reasons. BMW didn't talk about this because nobody likes to admit they're concerned about the Chinese competition, but in hindsight, I understand what the designers wanted to achieve. The iX design is a statement, while the XPeng is a generic-looking SUV. The only reason why anyone may give it a second glance is because they have no clue what it is. But the same can be said about most Chinese cars we get in Europe these days. They are bland and few people recognize new brands and models. You could say that the G9 is a simple, elegant SUV. To me, it's a grey box and nothing to look at from the outside. The BMW iX is more than 7 cm longer and 3 cm wider than the XPeng G9, but the height and the wheelbase are almost identical. The XPeng is also more than 200 kg lighter than the iX, even in a version with a comparable battery. Here we have the iX with a larger battery than the XPeng, but BMW really wanted to showcase its 700+ range, and at the last minute they changed my test car from the xDrive 45 to the xDrive 60. The BMW iX boot is 500 liters in a 5-seat configuration and 1750 liters with the second row seats folded. The backrest splits 40-20-40 and what the... come on! 40-20-40! Ha! There! There is a 12-volt outlet, a shopping bag hook, and some underfloor storage where you could fit your cables, but not the parcel shelf. Unfortunately, it won't fit in there. Anyway, the charging cables have to go down here because there is no frunk. The boot is 110 centimeters wide across its entire depth, which, by the way, is 110 centimeters in 5-seat configuration and 207 centimeters in 2-seat configuration with the passenger seat pushed all the way forward. The height is 46 centimeters to the parcel shelf and 73 centimeters to the roof at its highest point, but there are massive hinges on the sides, so that leaves about 63 centimeters. I didn't measure the height with the underfloor storage compartment because of its irregular shape. Meanwhile, the XPeng has a 71-liter frunk in which you can store, I don't know, charging cables or, see, says here in Chinese, XPeng, I guess. Anyway, charging cables or, I don't know, your dirty hiking boots or whatever dirty sport you do, because I'm sure it's dirty. According to the specification, the boot is 660 liters in 5-seat configuration and 1780 liters with the second row backrests folded, for which there are also buttons in the boot. There is also a 12-volt outlet and a shopping bag hook. The cargo cover does not fit under the floor. The boot is 100 centimeters wide between the wheel arches and the depth is 104 centimeters in 5-seat configuration. Drop the rear seats and you get 210 centimeters with the passenger seat pushed all the way forward. The height is 40 centimeters to the cargo cover and 75 centimeters to the roof. Here too, I did not measure the height taking into account the underfloor storage compartment because it has an irregular shape. In the back, there are large door pockets, USB-C ports,
on the front seat backs, there are cup holders in the armrest and dual zone climate control. The floor is flat and even the middle passenger has plenty of footroom. Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
I'm 175 centimeters tall, the driver's seat is set to my driving position, and I have 23 centimeters of legroom behind it. I also have 21 centimeters headroom. The seat width is 143 centimeters. At elbow height, it's 156 centimeters. In the BMW iX, the doors do not cover the sills.
The XPeng's bright interior certainly works in its favor, but even if the leather upholstery were a different color, and this is real leather by the way, the passengers sitting in the back of the G9 have adjustable backrest angle, adjustable thigh support, and a massage function. True, there are no air conditioning controls back here, and the USB-A and USB-C ports are low by the floor, but there are door pockets and some cup holders in the armrest, and there's even some storage where you can put your phone maybe and then forget where you put it and you'll never find it again.
I am still 175 centimeters tall, the driver's seat is still set to my driving position, and I have 17 centimeters of legroom behind it. The passenger seat can be moved back only a little further, so with taller drivers there will be more legroom in the back in the XPeng than in the BMW. I have 19 centimeters headroom, the seat width is 130 centimeters. At elbow height it's 153 centimeters. The floor is also flat and there is room for the middle passenger's feet. The doors cover the sills.
BMW has always had very legible dashboards until they finally decided to replace everything with a wide panel with a couple of displays. 4 years after the debut of the new operating system interface, firstly, I got used to it. Secondly, many things have been improved with over-the-air updates. And thirdly, most of the competition is far behind BMW in this sphere anyway. It's probably often a matter of getting used to one system or another, but from a perspective of a person who tests various solutions, I appreciate the logic of BMW's infotainment. BMW also offers a mobile app which still doesn't let me use a barely 1-year-old flagship Sony smartphone because some of the features such as remote parking or keyless start work only on maybe 3 brands and a couple of models within them. BMW attributes this to high security standards, and I say it's due to poor programming on BMW's side.
The app shows me energy consumption on individual trips and charging data. While this may not be a key feature for an average driver of a 100k plus SUV, for me as a journalist, easy access to such data is helpful. I saw BMW's remote parking feature at a launch event a couple of years ago. It works fine. I imagine that if I had a narrow parking space, I would take advantage of it. From my perspective, there are other, more useful features, such as memory of a series of maneuvers in a given location so that the car can park automatically with the driver inside, or reversing along its tracks. Currently, BMW can go back along its tracks the last 200 meters driven. There are large door pockets, cup holders, a wireless charger, a storage compartment under the armrest, and a glove box. BMW left some physical switchgear, which I appreciate, and the air vents are controlled manually, which is not so obvious in modern cars.
The XPeng G9 cockpit is something between a Tesla and a Mercedes. The graphics are very similar to those in a Tesla. To adjust the mirrors or the steering wheel, for example, you have to pull down a menu, select mirror adjustment, and then play with the buttons on the steering wheel, just like in the Tesla. Meanwhile, the display in front of the passenger very much reminds me of the one in a Mercedes limousine, like the hyperscreen business.
The front passenger also has a fold-out footrest, but firstly, I don't know how they'll reach the screen to control it, and secondly, the passenger seat doesn't move back far enough, so the footrest is more for show. The screens catch reflections from the outside, so from behind the wheel I can constantly see something flashing in my peripheral vision. While the display graphics are pleasing to the eye, the menu logic leaves much to be desired. Some features, such as driver's seat memory for more than one person, are available only after creating an XPeng account. The XPeng app doesn't show as much charging data as the BMW app, but it can replace the key and allows you to control the car remotely. Moving the car back and forth works much better than in, for example, Hyundai or Kia, where you have to go through a multi-stage launch procedure like before sending a SpaceX rocket into space and then pray it doesn't explode. To park remotely, you first have to drive the car yourself and detect a parking spot, then you can get out and use the app to park the car, which will perform a series of maneuvers on its own.
Would I park faster and better myself? Probably yes, but as far as the remote parking is concerned, the XPeng app works much better than any other solution I've seen so far. For example, the only successful Mercedes remote parking demo I witnessed was during the S213 E-Class Estate launch event in 2016, and I've never been able to repeat it since.
The door pockets are spacious, there are two cup holders, a dual wireless charger, a cubby under the console, an air-conditioned storage compartment under the armrest, and a glove box. I'm not a fan of setting the AC vents from the screen, but apart from that, it's an elegant, simple and modern interior. Audi, BMW, Lexus and Mercedes have reasons to be concerned. Volvo is already Chinese, so they don't care.
The BMW iX is available in three versions: the xDrive 45, xDrive 60 and M70 xDrive. The xDrive 45 would fit best for this comparison because it has a 95 kWh traction battery, 408 horsepower and a claimed range of 602 kilometers, up to 602 kilometers. But as I mentioned, BMW wanted to show off its more than 700 kilometers range, which is why I have the xDrive 60 with 544 horsepower and a 109 kilowatt-hour traction battery for testing. The G9 Performance with all-wheel drive has comparable performance.
BMW still offers DC charging up to 195 kilowatts. Fast charging from 10 to 80% takes 35 minutes. This means longer stops during road trips. As standard, the iX has an 11 kilowatt onboard charger. Optionally, you can get 22 kilowatts. The real-life range in the city is up to 700 kilometers in good weather. On dual carriageway, maybe you'll hit 400 kilometers depending on how fast you're driving. In my unofficial combined cycle, the iX uses over 21 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers. BMW promises a time from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour of 4.6 seconds. I checked and I managed to achieve 4.3 seconds, both in sport mode and normal mode.
The BMW iX is very quick and very agile for a 2.5-ton SUV. Helping agility and maneuvering is the rear-wheel steering system.
The suspension is so good that I damaged two rims. I tackled a curb with too much optimism. The soundproofing is amazing, visibility is excellent for this size of an SUV, and the 360-degree camera allows you to get through tight gaps. The driver assist features are top-notch, as we came to expect of BMW. The adaptive cruise control with lane keeping assist works confidently but not aggressively. Other assist and warning features are not intrusive. The navigation system clearly shows charging stations and information about them. XPeng G9, depending on the version, has 313 or 551 horsepower, a traction battery with a gross capacity of 78 or 98 kilowatt-hours, and a range of 460 to 570 kilometers in the combined cycle. XPeng provides gross battery capacity. According to information I found online, this larger battery had a net capacity of 93 kWh. The G9 I'm testing is the extended range rear-wheel drive variant. The claimed time from 0 to 100 km per hour is 6.4 seconds. I checked, and in normal mode it was 0.06 seconds slower, let's call it a measurement error, and in sports mode it was 0.25 seconds faster.
Remember the BMW iX charging from 10 to 80% in 35 minutes? The XPeng G9 charges in 20 minutes because it can handle up to 300 kilowatts. Officially, because the information online suggests that this result can be improved. The promised energy consumption in the combined cycle is around 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I have observed a better result in the city, so 570 kilometers in urban conditions is realistic. It will be worse on the motorway, but if you have really fast chargers along the way, 20-minute stops are a game changer as far as EVs are concerned. And the XPeng recently announced a new generation of the G6 and G9, which will accept even more power and will charge in just 12 minutes. So, in terms of tech, the XPeng leaves BMW behind. However, its handling is like the exterior design. Meh. And that's okay too, because not everybody expects or wants sharp handling. The XPeng G9 just drives. It's relatively comfortable, relatively quiet, relatively unobtrusive.
Visibility is bad, and the plastic triangles on the side windows at the wing mirrors level do not help. Rear visibility is limited by massive headrests, which I'm sure are comfortable for the passengers. On larger bumps, the suspension starts to get lost, and sudden maneuvers or fast cornering are uncomfortable for the G9, and even more so for the driver and the passengers. The driver assistance systems work when I found out how to use them. Some of the features were shown to me when I was handing the car back, so I have only a very brief experience with the full X-Pilot mode, but generally speaking, it works. As this is a very wide car, on narrow country roads you should consider turning off the lane departure warning because it'll drive you nuts. The specifications suggest that the XPeng G9 has numerous millimeter wave radars, ultrasonic sensors and cameras, but some warnings are displayed far too late to be useful. And for example, the parking sensors, like in Tesla, display a moderately accurate measurement in centimeters. Cameras are also easy to fool. For example, a GoPro stuck to the side of the car was perceived as a motorcyclist. Both cars were awarded the highest 5-star rating in the Euro NCAP crash tests. The results in various categories are comparable. Price of the refreshed BMW iX start at €83,500. This test car is an X-Drive 60. With options, it costs €125,715. Prices of the XPeng G9 are very competitive. The standard range model starts at €59,600. This test car in long-range form with extras costs €68,560.
Is the BMW iX better than the XPeng G9? Yes, it is. Is it about €30,000–40,000 better? Purely in monetary terms, no, it is not. Of course, BMW has the brand image, the heritage that means something. But the very fact that today we are comparing German and Chinese premium brands is a signal that the former need to get a grip because the latter offer a lot for a very reasonable price. And which one of these two cars do you like more and why? Drop me a comment below.
If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.